Yeah. Sorry for the late, just because I was the one who became bule at the time. Because you are all European and American talking each other, and I'm the one who is bule, right? And today we have session on introduction to AI and law for lecturers. And I know that don't ask about who is organizing this, because we have Professor Stephen for a week, and we want to make sure that he can contribute more, not only for students but also for teachers. Then the study program, in collaboration with Pak Umar, we decided to have this session, and hopefully you will get more knowledge, and he will talk about the AI on academic challenges and in which position that we should take, because in these 2 days I accompany him to talk about the development of AI, and he has a book in Bahasa Indonesia with Professor Siddhartha, and the topic of the book is Hukum Perdata dan Artificial Intelligence. So I think he is the correct one. He's in the expertise to talk about the AI. And today's moderator is Mbak Caturana, because Mbak Seli. Sela, okay, Sela. Sorry, your face is almost similar for me. Okay, all of you. Ya, sama seperti dulu 3 Ayu ini. Ya kan, Ayu Nita, Ayu Iza, Ayu Umar. Nih, wah, ada susah sekali nih. Okay, so please Mbak Sela come forward, and she become your moderator. Siap, baik-baik semua, ya. Ya. Mungkin paling banyak pertanyaan nanti. Ya. Beliau bisa bahasa Indonesia, punya istri orang Jakarta, sudah punya anaknya half Indonesian and German. Dan beliau full profesor di salah satu kampus militer yang ada di Munich di Jerman. Silahkan Mbak Sela.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah, I hope everyone's already have lunch, yeah. So we could be ready to hear more from Prof. Stephen about artificial intelligence and copyrights. So inshallah, yeah, today we are going to do a workshop on the understanding of AI and how maybe, yeah, the development of AI in the as a law lecturer. What would be the the relevance? Maybe before we start, I wanted to ask the participant, maybe anyone already open ChatGPT today? Gemini ya sekarang. Yeah, so I think we already familiar, but we don't know, maybe a lot more. Yeah, we can dig deeper about how can we use AI as a law lecturer. So please, Prof. Stephen.
Saya sudah tahu ada orang mungkin tidak bisa mengerti cukup bahasa Indonesia, so saya mau pindah ke bahasa Inggris sekarang ya. Even if I would love to speak bahasa, because this is a good practice for me, for the lecturing, this is still challenging for me. For conversation is enough. Let me maybe present myself first. So I have a chair of private law and international business law at the Bundeswehr University in Munich. Bundeswehr University is one of 2 federal universities in Germany, which is belonging from the organization. It belongs to the defense ministry. So we have 2,600 students around, and these students are mostly military officers, lieutenants and higher. So from lieutenant on, any student, any officer in Germany, in the German army, must study scientifically. It's wajib. It's a duty. So they cannot become above a lieutenant. Or a lieutenant or above that without having studied in one of the 2 federal universities. The background is because after the Second World War, we wanted to be sure that our military is democratic and has a certain education. That's why. But we also have some foreign officers always. So we have officers from African befriended states. We had Thai officer already. We had Indonesian officer. But I tell you that because sometimes after that, some people ask me, can you bring our students there? And this is difficult because our organization is not so easy in integrating civil students from abroad. No. For the concept, I don't want to bore you. So I know we are lecturers, and many people use this all the time. And sometimes I'm surprised that not anyone use it correctly. I said in the last lecture to one of the students when they said, "How can we avoid that AI will harm us or our society?" And I said, "Shouldn't we limit the development of smart city and so on?" And this is like all. I mean, should we avoid to develop the nuclear energy, or should we avoid to develop weapons, or should we avoid to do this and do that? This is a tool in the hand of the wrong person. Is a dangerous tool, of course. And the mistake. One student last year asked me, "Isn't that a bad product? Isn't the AI a bad product?" And the answer is, it is actually a very good product, but it is in the wrong hands. Yeah? People use this actually good product without enough knowledge to use it. Even academics, even legal practitioners use it. We see more and more cases where, from the United States, where lawyers give files to the court, and then 9 of 10 references are hallucinated. We have now a case in Germany where a lawyer did that, all hallucinated, and the court really blamed him and make a nice decision telling that this lawyer is absolutely incompetent, and this happening. And this is a lawyer. I mean, this is a person who should be able to make research. Or I read that statistically more and more researchers use Perplexity and ChatGPT instead of Google. And then we also learn that the shares of the alphabet is going down because Alphabet has the innovators paradox, because they invented the AI, and now the AI is killing the Google. But I still Google because I am accustomed to filter my information. So I was thinking, what can I do here with you without boring you? So I'm sure we still all can learn from each other, and we still all have issues and have experiences, And as a reviewer in Indonesian legal journals, I also get papers on my table, which are obviously written with AI, and the issues of that papers are obvious, not understood by the authors, because we have a lot of references, and then when you check that references, then you see there's a lot of issues with that. So obviously not all can do that. So my format, what I would propose you is, I will talk a little bit about the AI and the copyright. So because this is important for us, is our text copyrighted? If not, how much we must integrate of our own individuality into the text. Is it correct if journals reject our text because they say it's AI written, and these things? And then after that, I would propose that we are discussing. Maybe you have experience with that, and I did the same in another university last week, and it turned out that many lecturers had issues, and they sent papers to journals, and then the journal rejected it. And so what is the opinion about that? So I want to, in the end of the day, I want to talk about, is that what we do when we use AI? Is it a fake paper, or is it not fake paper? Is it legitimate? Is it ethical, or is it not ethical? And also, maybe I want to tell you, maybe many of you know, but maybe not all, how I worked in that book in Indonesian language, how I used the AI in that book for a proper translation and for a proper work. And that just an example, So maybe we start a little bit with the issues, and I will not make it too long like for the students, but a little bit. We have several issues. Of course, first of all, we must decide whether we have a copyright, and I don't have to show you that because you know what a copyright is, and you know that the copyright needs individuality, actually, because that is something developing from the personality rights, and it is still in our legal systems, it is still very close connected with the personality rights. So But I also will show you an issue, and maybe our colleague from Ireland will know that issue. That we have in the Copyright Acts, in some Copyright Acts, also something we can use, which is already separated from the personality right, which would be a model for protecting AI-generated works. Yeah, so the international aspects is especially important for you because you are publishing in platforms. Yeah, so maybe in open source. And also you might later on, maybe not as a lawyer or law experts, but some people in the university also will maybe develop their platforms, or maybe you will later develop an AI expert system for law firms or so, and then you are maybe also subject to the copyright to the European AI regulations, and that there is some gray zone whether we as a lecturer, when we use AI, whether we are free of the duties of the AI regulation, because the AI regulation is not applicable if we use it as a private person. But if we are using it professionally and we producing something with AI, and that is posing a risk in the definition, we don't go into the detail, but in the definition of the AI Act, then theoretically our use of AI could be also a problem. Yeah? Same like the data protection regulation of the European Union, which is applied extraterritorial, because whenever you process data of European citizens, wherever you are, the GDPR is applicable. We have also the issue of the extraterritoriality in the AI regulation, and that is colliding with the territoriality principle of the copyright law, when you can only infringe a copyright law, national copyright law, in the territory of that copyright. But when you use AI and you make the training, that is a copyright problem, because the training is done with a lot of copyrightable and copyrighted texts and pictures and so. And then if you use the copyrighted texts which are copyrighted, for example, in Germany or somewhere in Europe, in European Union, then the AI regulation says the training must respect the European copyright rules, even if the training takes place in out of the territory of the European Union. Once the model comes into the market, or the product comes into the European market, that becomes problematic. Yeah, so it means the developer, even in Indonesia, will have to respect the AI regulation, and in the training, especially in the training, to respect especially the text and data mining rules of the European Union, which are transferred into the member states' law, into the copyright law of the member states. So, is AI product a copyright infringement? This is the output. Is AI generated works copyrightable? If the copyright is granted, who is the author? This is a rather theoretical problem. It is the problem of the personification of AI. Can AI be a legal person? There we will not talk too much about that. And the use of the copyright works as training data for AI, because you might maybe later train your own models, right? And that is maybe the most important thing, especially also when we go to the international problem and the cross-border problem. So AI-generated works as a potential copyright infringement, that is what comes to our mind first. You know, we produce something, and the output, and to make that clear, in the People's Republic of China, they have traditionally in their legislation a very innovative, friendly approach compared to the European Union, which is rather horizontal legislation, which is not so innovative friendly, because we cut off a lot of chances before we can know the problem arise. So yeah, because we want make a comprehensive definition what is AI, and then what is high danger, and what is low danger, and what is middle danger, and so on, without knowing which problem will ever arise. In China, they wait until a problem comes clear, and then they make a vertical regulation, especially for that problem, and the rest is still free. And generally, courts are regarding the training of the AI, for example, at the input aspect, as an important factor for innovation. So they tend to not limit it too strong. But the output, that is regarded as a very strong problem. So whenever you train your system, the training system is fine for them, usually very liberal, but you have a strong responsibility for the output, and the output will be regarded as very fast as a copyright infringement and rights infringement and attack. This is one of the aspects, and this aspect is mostly discussed. You find it in a lot of papers. I'm sure you read about it. The second aspect is less discussed. The second aspect is a cultural changing aspect. Because, and this is also important for you as authors, because with the AI, we can make mass production, very easy mass production of texts and of works. And this is applying to artwork, of course, but imagine Joan Rowling and Harry Potter. I mean, we had always fan literature. We had always sequels and prequels and fan literature written by other people, but similar style. And we know writing in a similar style like a famous author is not infringement of copyright, because this is just idea protection, and of course you can use the patterns. Yeah, maybe you cannot mention Harry Potter, maybe there is a trademark. I have no idea how this is protected, but this Rowling is not usually very keen on protecting everything. But you can maybe have a Harry Potter friend, yeah, and then let Harry Potter go to another castle and then have similar things, and then in the style of this author. And usually that would be not so problematic because it costs a lot of time to write this book, right? So there will not be a flood of these books. But with AI, we feed the AI with texts of someone and tell the AI to produce something which is absolutely in the style of the original author. And with that, we destroy markets. So the problem of training of AI and of output, the input aspect and the output aspect, is not only a problem for the copyright itself, but of course also for the general culture, for the incentive of authors to be creative. And very important, it is also destroying markets, neighboring markets, like the markets for licenses. For what I need license, if anyone can reproduce something in a similar way, yeah, you will not have a license market, and also you destroy the market of the author and of the art itself. Some say, some papers say, this is democratization of the culture, because anyone now can make that. Anyone now can write books, can make paintings. You don't need to know anything. You don't need to be able to do that. You will don't have to be a especially artist person. Yeah, you don't have to go to the gallery and buy the artwork for your home. You can do it alone. So the market of artwork is destroyed. Yeah. So this effect is not so much discussed. Yeah, and this is a very, very important aspect, because it is changing our cultural impact and changing our incentive. Because why I should be creative if any idiot can use my work and make himself something very easy? Why I should compose music? Why I should write papers? If any idiot without any examen or any master can write also a paper like that. I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of papers. What if I feed my AI with all of your papers, yeah, from your special area, and then I make a paper on my own? But of course I brief the AI in the, there's the general briefing, right? We can make it whatever. It should never make a plagiarism. It should never make a paraphrasing. Plagiarism should really also it should write it in a way a German author would write, not Indonesian author would write, and please avoid the American blah 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 the AI usually use, yeah. And then I have a new paper, and that I send it to Bestur or Scopus, and then you can have the 20 Scopus articles per year instead of 2, which is a requirement. Yeah, mass production. So, and why I should be, kenapa saya jujur? Why I should be an honest author in the future if anyone can do that? Yeah. So why? This is really for me a big issue for the future, yeah, because I'm not so afraid of fake news, and so this is anyway coming, yeah. But this is really changing the incentive for being an author, and we can be exploited very easy. So, of course, this starts with the input, with the training, because not only with the input that I do, I have the model and I feed my. I all the time analyze papers with the AI. I would be stupid not to do that, because 85% of all papers I have to read, especially when I see Indonesian journals. is not readable. Actually, not readable, yeah, or absolutely boring because 70% is methods and blah blah blah, and then in the end they come to the point, maybe. But this is also not so original because they must. I mean, it's not their fault. They must produce papers because this is a requirement of the faculty. Produce scopus, scopus, scopus. So I write only. I don't care. I don't care for international publication. Sorry, I'm not sending to Australian, Irish, British, American papers. I don't care. Because as a German professor, I have freedom of science, and I'm not dependent on a decan tells me two scopus, and scopus is, I don't need international publication. That's why I write books in Bahasa Indonesia, because this is a market gap. I'm not caring for publishing in Australia or in Britain. This is irrelevant for me. That's why I'm free. And I only write, sometimes 1 year I don't read any paper. I only write when I'm interested in something. Right? And people in Indonesia write not when they're interested in something. They write, oh, I must write something. What can I write? And then, just last week I read some paper. It's so interesting. And then I make it a little bit different. So there's thousands of paper about cyber notary. Writing all the moments the same. Or thousands of paper about, can AI be legal person? Yeah, always the same. Yeah, and just a little bit different. And that is easier in the future. Yeah, so and this is one issue, but the other issue is what happens already in the training of the model, because there happens something. They feed the model, and they swear. I mean, the beginners, they think, oh, after the training, all these papers are stored in the model. This is already the copyright. No, this is not stored. It's a temporary storing, because the papers are not in the model anymore. Yeah, or the texts. The texts are gone. It's just translated into weightings, yeah, into relations, this is not there. However, I will show you cases where the AI was reproducing almost one-to-one training data, without that the training data are really stored. Actually, it's comparable with you read 20 years ago you read something, and 20 years ago you have an idea and write exactly that because your brain is remembering that, but you are not conscious about that. Yeah, you memorize something, and the AI can also memorize. And some of the authors, especially in the German literature, say this is not a problem of the copyright because this is actually something like a parallel creation. Parallel creation is a creation when the second author does not know about the original. There is the burden of proof maybe in the, for example, if we have the counterfeit products or the design copies, there's the burden of proof, at least in the German law, that the burden of proof is on the one who is having the similar work. Because if the similar work is very similar, then there's a clear assumption that he knows the original. But if he can prove that he cannot know the original, then it's actually free. Also in the copyright, yeah. The creators and the trainers of the AI cannot explain how that happens. At least that's what they claim. They say it's a black box. So this is the box, and then you make the input, and then make like this, and then it comes out. And they cannot say how the AI comes to that result. They don't know. So they say, as that is not the plan of the AI, and as actually the AI technically, it's very likely that it does not copy something. Yeah, it is not copyright infringement. That can be disputed, but the dominant opinion, at least in the literature in my country, is nowadays that we say the works are still in the system. It's not stored, but it is translated into writings in the system, and obviously it can be reproduced, and that means we have at least, of course, the temporary storing, because we need to make the data bank for the training, but then we have maybe a consequent and continuous storing until the work comes to the market, because it is in the weightings, and that means it is in the system. It means also that the output and also the input is already infringing the copyright of the respective markets as soon as the whole model comes into the market. And the solution for that is, at least for the input aspect, is the EU's text and data mining exemption, which is translated into the copyright laws of the member states, as I mentioned. And there we have some It is not developed for the AI, I must say, so it's not so clear. The European Court of Justice did not yet decide about that, whether it's applicable to the AI. The first German courts decided it is applicable to the AI. And some cases which demonstrating this is, one is the very famous Sarah Anderson against Stability, AI Midjourney and DeviantArt case. You see left the original and right the copy, or vice versa, I don't know. And this is not a totally copy, but it is a this is a paraphrasing plagiat, I would say. Yeah. So we have a bird, we have an angel, we have the same coloring. So this is paraphrasing. You know, when my students write a text which is so far in that relation to each other, I would say it's a plagiarism. And the lawsuit is claiming that this is a 21st century collage tool. The AI use it as a collage tool. The developers of Stability AI, Midjourney and DeviantArt claim that is not really a copy, and also they did not have the original training data in their model. But the issue is, the question is it allowed to train the model with the original training data without asking? Yeah. And you can see that this is actually a very impressive case. Another impressive case is the New York Times versus OpenAI and Microsoft, in which the AI was reproducing press texts one-to-one, almost literally, even if it should not happen. Yeah, because they trained their model, of course, with that, but the model was reproducing it one-to-one. Now, this is not totally impossible. It is possible that a model is trained over-biased. Yeah, you can train a model, for example, with many very similar sources, and then, of course, statistically, the model will make the result based on this statistical basis. Yeah, that's why the bias is also arising. Yeah, so why, if for example, if we train a model with a lot of sources from Google or from the internet, and 80% of the population in the world thinks that women should not work, and women does not do belong in the kitchen, and only 20% of the people in the world think women should have the same rights like men, and it is trained just with that basis, then the AI will also say statistically it's very likely that is the right opinion, that women should not work. Yeah, this is the problem of the bias, because the AI is a pure statistical system. It has no logic. There is no ethic. There is no moral. There is no logic. It is just statistically guessing. That's why we will never get rid of the hallucinations also, because hallucinations are based on this statistical issue. The large language models, as we have it now, are having this inherent in the system. This problem. And by the way, large language models are not revolutionary technically. It is absolutely no novelty, because already in the 50s, theoretically, the method how to make an AI with like this was already known. The problem was in the last decades that we did not have the capacity to store this big amount of data to really train it in that way. So the novelty aspect of large language models, as this AI as we have it, the novelty aspect is only in the big amount of storing data. The data is the really important thing, not the method of making statistical AI guessing. Yeah, so this is very interesting actually. Now, in this case, it was really copying, and indeed, here's the input aspect of problem. Yeah, so are they allowed to train the model with the original text, which is copyrighted? And also the output issue is a problem, because it is reproducing articles and therefore disturbing the market for press products. Yeah, same happens with the pay walls. Yeah, so AI can make summaries, and then I don't have to pay for accessing the texts. Yeah, why I should buy the journal when AI can make me already summaries of all the articles? Yeah, so this is always a question of the fair use. In the Anglo-Saxon countries, the fair use, and in the European Union, we would think about, is this maybe allowed, because it is under the text and data mining exemption. Yeah, so that means in the text and data mining exemption, we must check out whether there is opt-out or opt-in. Here, this is another case. We don't have to go into detail. This is similar. Also, the problem of the training data and also the problem of the output generated, because it's a direct concurrence to the original product, and it also disturbs and destroys the license market. Yeah, because you don't need license anymore. And the newest cases in the Anthropic, there is an American court said training of an AI model on copyrighted books could be considered fair use as long as the books were legally obtained. So you cannot train the model with the illegal copy. But this is not so surprising. But all the world said, oh, now the court decided that it's all fair use. Of course, it's not always all fair use. And another case to the other side. But this is not so important for us. For us, and Trump says, of course, everything training is free. Yeah, everything is free. And if you Europeans go on regulating our platforms and our technology, then we leave the NATO, and then we give you to the Russians. That is this is the threat of Mr. Trump. Yeah, that's why my university has no money for sending students anymore, because we now must buy weapons. That's because we are military university, of course. Yeah. This is first of all an implication for international developers in the science, also in universities, because as I mentioned, the AI Act is introducing obligations even if it's extraterritorial. So if you train your model abroad, out of the European Union, you must train your model respecting our copyright law. Means you must know the text and data mining exemption and must respect that. And that means especially respecting the copyright holder's right to opt out. So copyright owners, you also are copyright holders. You can also opt out, and you can make sure that AI is not using your data for training with an opt-out, at least on the basis of the European copyright law. Yeah. This is something similar. Maybe you got a mail from Zuckerberg from Instagram that Instagram is now using all the pictures you upload for training their models. In the European Union, we got all an email that we can opt out from that for until a certain date, and I did that. But if you not opt out, they can now legitimately use your pictures, all your pictures for the training. So I even more, if you did not opt out, I even more recommend you not to post your children, because then maybe in 10 years you find a very originally made child pornography with the face of your children. Yeah, because that is already happening. And not because Instagram will produce this, just because someone used these platforms to produce this, and the platform is memorizing the picture of your child, right? And we see memorizing happens. So I don't want it. That's why you never find pictures of my children somewhere. And my pictures also very sparing, but especially not children. So Homo digitalis, you all should become Homo digitalis. Homo digitalis cannot trust anymore that the law is protecting him. The law will not protect us anymore. European Union law is just a little bit helping still, because they still respect our market and they want our market, and that's why they maybe comply in a certain way with our rules. But will they comply with Indonesian rules? This is very questionable, because it's maybe the Indonesian market isn't important enough. Will they comply with Malaysian rules? That's why Indonesia chose to more or less copy the data protection regulation of the European Union, because then this is the Brussels effect, right? That means the standard of the European Union is already partly at least respected. They always pay high fines. And Indonesia can say, okay, then they also respect, of course, our law, because we have the same standards, yeah, and the same will happen to the AI regulation. South Korea already copied more or less the principles of the AI regulation of European Union, and I'm sure Indonesia will do the same, because then you can be sure at least you have a chance that your standards are also respected, because you are pulled with the European Union, yeah. But how long the Brussels effect will work against the Washington effect, this is very questionable, because the Washington effect is also very strong, because it liberalized everything to give American platform companies full power, and then threatening on the political way countries who want to regulate that or make rules about that. And this is very problematic actually. So it leads to a certain anarchy. Yeah, this is actually just a part of a strange political phenomenon we have, what I call the crisis of the international law, that we are going more and more back from state sovereignty. We have no territoriality more and more. The territoriality doesn't play a big role because we have ubiquitous influencing from outside, which we cannot control without being extraterritorial. And extraterritoriality is only enforceable if we are powerful enough to enforce it internationally. And if we're not powerful enough to enforce our law extraterritorial because they not respect our market or our politics, like to US or China, then we have no chance to protect our citizen anymore. That means we have a principle of the political principle of the law of the strength, of the stronger one, yeah. So instead of the international public law principles of not mixing into the inner affairs of other, and we should only take care of our own territory and not of the other one. This is unfortunately in Indonesia there is no specific rules about that, and this was a new case where we had to discuss exactly this opt-out issue. In Hamburg, 23, and then in 24, in September 27, 24, it was decided, Kneschke versus Lion. Lion is an association which collects data for training. They try to collect data which are not problematic in the copyright to train AI systems. And Mr. Kneschke is a photographer, and he put his photo to the big stocks. And in big stocks term, there is not allowed to use this photo for these things, but nevertheless, the photo was in the Lion, their data bank. And the question was it allowed to use this photo for the training? Yeah, and this is a question of the 44b of the Urhebergesetz. This is Hukum. This is the Undang-Undang Hak Cipta German. This is the direct transformation of the European directive to the German law. This is in all the member states in their copyright law. So is it applicable to AI? And the court said yes, it's applicable to AI, even if the rule was not designed for AI. And what is the requirements for an effective opt-out notice? And this is very interesting because the Lion said, "Whoa, we cannot know the opt-out because the opt-out was only in the conditions, and it was natural language, but it was not machine readable." And you know what the court said? The court said, "You brag." You companies, you brag that you can make natural language processing, and you can communicate with people in natural language. Your AI is able to process that, and now you say you cannot process the exception or the opt-out in natural language. This is weird, right? So yes, you must also respect natural language opt-out, yeah. But you all will not have opt-out for your papers because you don't know that. That means they will use your training, your papers, your texts, your photos for training of their models. That one we don't need. We don't need that. We don't need that. Yeah, the future directions will be, and important for all of us, will be maybe licensing models. Yeah, so maybe we cannot wait until someone allows that we use the training data. So maybe there will be licensing, but not any single person will license. So there will be collective licensing systems, maybe like we have already for auto rights in Germany. For example, I get every year some royalties from some collective collecting systems, or for the copies some people make or reading that, and then I get every month I get some royalty. But I don't have to do that individually. That is a collective licensing. That would be maybe one of the ways to do that. Is there copyright protection if you use AI? May I ask you, and be honest, how you use the AI when you write text? No, yeah. How you use it when you write your papers? Honestly. We are under us. That's good. That's very good. That's fine. That's great. Yeah, it's fine because it's really good. It's really good. I hate Grammarly. I hate it because it's so. In German, we would say übergriffig. It's so grabbing me. It's all the time molesting me all the time. And I don't want that. Yeah, I hate it. You know what I do? I don't care for Grammarly. So I write everything in German and then I let the AI translate it to English. That's what I do. Which is very practical because I have a paper in German now then after that, right? For my students, yeah? I recommend you not to do that. Don't fight with Grammarly. It costs money and it is really molesting us. Yeah? No, I will tell you later how you do it in the future. Write it in Bahasa. It's better. I write everything in German. And I'm so fast. I'm so productive when I write in German, yeah? We are more creative in our language. Yeah, but Grammarly, ooh. I used to write text for Indonesian journal in English before AI, and I hated that. Of course, I had to correct and then had to proofread, but still, if you read my old papers, horrible. So German, yeah? Googling around, is this the right terminology and blah, blah, blah. No, not anymore, so. No. Is there anyone formulating with AI? You formulate with AI. How you do it? For the lectures.
Messages of
That's absolutely legitimate. This is all absolutely legitimate.
Yeah.
I do it exactly the same.
Yeah.
Since I have AI, I'm not working 2 weeks on a new lecture.
Yeah.
Since I have AI, I work 3 days on a new lecture. Yeah?
100%.
And as long as you always control, I anyway say my theory is the output is irrelevant in the future. Important is the controlling of the output. So as long as you control it, it's fine. That's I use it also for structure. I modify my structures, the structures of course later, but I use it. I give it as an idea giver. It's a learning buddy. I learn new material with that because I all the time have to counter check. Right? We have to counter check. Then we learn something from that. And yes, I also maybe formulate that. But do you use it in your papers? That's good. I not recommend that. Yeah, because first of all, we must ask ourselves when you write it, is it copyrighted? Yeah, because it is maybe not your creation. Yeah, the question is how we define what is your creation. In my personal opinion, this is a transition problem for the next 3, 4, 5 years. After that, nobody will care because we already are contaminated with AI products in the internet. Yeah, so sooner or later nobody will differentiate anymore. And I would not. I mean, if it was about me, I tell my students, I don't care if you want to formulate with AI, do that. Yeah, but if I find any let's say incorrectness, then you are done. When I see that is a faulty text, obviously written by a bad student, and there is some incorrectness, I would say okay. Yeah, but now in the era of the AI, I'm very caring for, is it the right paragraph? Do you have a different paragraph here? Because that is hallucination when you use AI. But this is fine. But you know, I will tell you later about my experience with that formulating because I made the test and doing this. So the question is, if you more or less formulate with the AI, actually this is maybe public domain because you don't create it yourself. This is a creation of the machine, and the criteria for protection of is a significant human intervention. And if the human intervention is not significant enough, then it's a problem for the copyright, and anyone can use that. Yeah. The problem is, what is enough human intervention? Now, the process of writing a text with the AI is usually an incremental process. Yeah, we give letter structure, and then we start to write something. Maybe I have I must in the beginning, in the introduction, maybe I must refer to some papers I already wrote, and I'm really too lazy to, if I have 3 papers about some topic, to write again a new formulation of the same issue. So I let the AI, of course, write me a new text about feeding in this text of my 3 papers. That is my own ideas, right? And then this one you can do, but then you change something incrementally, and then you ask again, and then you have an idea. Can you integrate it into that? And then you have a big dialogue with your chatbot. And again, before I said it, as well say it in the end again, but I recommend you very strongly to keep the dialogue with your chatbot safe. Keep it. Not delete it. Keep it. Store it in a text document and keep it. And keep each version of your text. From the first version, from the bad version until the end version after you correct it. Because with that you can prove the incremental process of the making of your text. Nobody can claim you just use the AI and press a button and make a text here. Because you can prove, yes, I use the AI, it is a tool, I use it as a tool, but here is my idea, how I integrated the idea. I asked the AI about that idea to integrate it. I made it that. Here I modified, here I did not follow that. And then you can prove there is a lot of human intervention in the incrementally making of the text. Otherwise, it's not provable. It will be in 5 years maybe no problem anymore, because anyway never can prove anymore it is AI. But in the moment, a paper or a journal might say this is not an honest paper because you obviously use the AI. So the issue is difficult because if we use the AI as a tool, then it's of course copyrightable, mostly. If we use the AI instead of our own creativity, of course there is no copyright. The problem is in which grade we can use the AI to still have creative work of our own. And that is a gradual question which is not easy to assess in the future. And for that I really recommend you to keep that. We have a case of a student wanting to apply for a master's study, and the university rejected him because he had to write a text or some paper for a proof or something. I don't know what it exactly the formally, but he had to write a text, and the board rejected him because they say it was done with AI. Yeah, this is from the let's say from the legal rule. From the constitutional side, it's difficult, it's problematic. Yeah, I claim that we cannot reject students because we think this is AI written, even if we are very sure, because there's a lot of navigating and pivotal and I don't know what words I never heard of before. Pivotal, AI all the time use pivotal if you're not brief it to make it with a different, or navigating something, or it is important to remark here that blah blah blah. And then AI also has the tendency to make this flowery language of American authors. So what you know that you all know this, yeah. And then but this you can avoid, yeah. But even if I'm sure, I can put it to 3 scanners and they say 90% AI, 70% AI, or 20% AI. I cannot prove that. At least not that a court can say we disqualify this person because of that. Because this is not a clear proof. Because the scanners are not reliable. I checked that out. I had a text from 2017, of course not AI, and put it to the scanner, and the scanner said there is 60% AI. No? And then on the other side, I have texts which are I really wrote it with the AI, and it said there is 20% AI and 80% is human written. It's absolutely not human written. Yeah, happens all the time. And when you see my book, when you get my book later, and then you put it to the scanner, you will find 100% AI written. Why? Because I use translation. Yeah? So some say, I don't know if it works out, I didn't check that out, but some say we should not copy and paste. If we copy and paste from the chatbot, there is watermarks. And the watermarks can be seen as AI. So if you use it, maybe it works, I have no idea, I didn't check that. But if you want to use it, then at least type it. And not make copy and paste, yeah. But of course, if this book is edited together with Professor Shidata from BINUS in Jakarta, he wrote 2 chapters, and then one from Uya wrote 1 chapter, and the rest is from me, all in German. And also I referenced some Chinese literature. Of course I cannot understand Chinese, and of course I let it analyzed by AI and then counter-check with Google Lens, is it really written here? And I never do something without checking. You did not find any article of me, or even from 20 years ago, without that I checked every source. I never make citations which are secondary. Never trust citations. Yeah, you will always find checked source. If you not find the source in the book, then the website is down now, right? But everything is counter-checked. So, but yeah, of course, this is translated by the AI. Of course, I counter-check also, and I read it, and then with my Bahasa knowledge, I can say this is more or less what it says. Yeah, it's fine. And then, but it's AI. Of course, it's flagged. So we cannot disqualify someone for that, right? This is, in my opinion, just a transition problem. In 5 years, we will give up to try to find out is it AI written or not. Yeah. In the moment, we have still journals which reject AI papers, but they will learn fast that this is not working. Yeah. And we also cannot say it is not allowed to upload papers, to analyze papers. I got one offer from a Singaporean journal. They wanted that I wanted to write a chapter, and then I should assess something also, and then they always say it's not allowed to upload papers to structure something or to analyze something. And who cares? Who cares? I mean, I do that because we have an Edu version. The Edu version is not using it for the training. At least they say that, but who wants to control that? But in the non-Edu version, ChatGPT will not forget the dialogues and will use all dialogues for the training. So this is basically, of course, also a copyright problem if you upload papers to analyze it. But what I want to say is, sooner or later, nobody will care anymore. So my claim is, the paper writing is irrelevant. And let's be honest, 99% of the papers are not aesthetic. It doesn't matter. It's transfer of knowledge, right? I mean, is it really nice to read the paper from the first until the end? I don't do that. We only read diagonal, right? To find out is something relevant there. In the future, when I make assessments of papers or analysis of papers, or I must make reviews for journal, of course I upload the paper and then make a summary first. The important, as I already said, the important thing is not the making of paper, the important thing is the controlling. It is not ethical to review a paper and then take the review of the AI and send it to the journal without checking the paper, the review. Each statement of the review, each claim of the review, even if there is that this is has that and that problem, you must counter-check by hand. And then it's ethical to use that. And anyone will use it. And honestly, when we tell our students not to do that and they go in the job and their boss says you have, in the moment we have 2 days for maybe for a task, and the clever ones use the AI for that, and they have it done in 3 weeks or 3 hours. And then sooner or later the bosses will say you have 3 hours for the task. And then you say, but I make it the right way and the honest way with the hand. And then the boss said, but I don't pay you for that. Time is money. They must learn that. Yeah. So of course we might that. Yeah, but this is a problem to prove, and that's why sooner or later that will be not problematic. Yeah. So for the protection of the machine produced texts or products, we can think about alternative protection approaches. Yeah. So I think we need protection, intellectual property right protection sui generis for certain things. For example, we don't protect ideas. But if the making of ideas by mass production is posing a problem for creativity or for markets, then maybe we need to think protection also of patterns or of ideas or of styles, which is not existing in a moment. And also when it comes to the protection of computer-generated works in the British UK copyright law, there is something like a machine creation. So this is not based on the personality right, like the usual copyright. It's based on a more economical view. Who is inventing in an item should have the profit from the item, right? I invest something. I can make any one of prominent, a VIP. Yeah, if I'm a media company, maybe you are not you are not VIP, right? And you're not a celebrity. But if I'm a media company, I invest a lot of money in home stories, and we move to the holiday, and then you make some little bit scandal, and then you will be a VIP, and I can make the money out of you because you can make now advertisement. This is investing in building a product. And if you invest in a computer system which can create these products, then you are the right who the one who should have assigned the result and also the profit. But be careful, also the risk, because who invests and has the profit should also have the risk assigned. Yeah, this is very important. But this might be a model for protecting that. Yeah, because we don't have moral rights here, because it's not connected with personality. It's rather connected with the production process. So can AI be an author? Of course not. I don't want to talk about that now, because there's a theories of personification, and I'm sure you know about that, fiction theory, reality theory, and so on and so on. Very interesting theoretically indeed, but not so. I mean, this is a monkey. Yeah? Can the monkey be a copywriter? This is Naruto from Makassar, not from Makassar, from Sulawesi, somewhere in the forest. Naruto made that selfie because the photographer was forgetting the equipment and have maybe a lunch, and then the monkey came and made the selfie, and the photographer marketed that picture. Yeah, and it was a very famous picture, and the photographer made a mountain of money out of that picture. Now PETA, the people for the ethical treatment of animals, wanted the money. Actually, they wanted that Naruto gets the money, but nobody knows where Naruto lives nowadays. They don't have an address, a telephone number of Naruto. So PETA says, we are the next best friend of Naruto, and sued this Mr. Slater in a court in the US. And then the question was, can Naruto be a copywriter? Can Naruto be an author? And the second question is PETA the next best friend of Naruto to get the royalties for that? Yeah. And both know Naruto is not a legal person, and Naruto has not the best friend. And even if it was a legal person, PETA has actually PETA and not someone else. Yeah, so no, cannot. But if we talk about why Naruto is not an author, why not? I mean, if you, I remember I was some years ago in Cape Town, and there were a lot of these horrible pavian hanging out there. You go to the Cape of the Good Hope, and there are all these horrible pavian. And there was one pavian mama with a baby, and the baby was dead. And if you look into the eyes of this pavian mama, how it suffers and how sad it is, then you see how close they are to us. So they can feel, they can be sad, they can be happy, they can have wishes. So if we think of the humanistic philosophical basis, what should be personified? Then we could say maybe animals, yes. Why? Because why a foundation and not an animal? And foundation is just money, and there's just the idea of the founder as a humanistic basis, yeah? Or a company, there's the group of the people, yeah? In the Otto von Guericke theory, there's the humanistic basis. But AI, has it the humanistic basis? You would say no. But some authors, like Teuber from in Germany in the 90s, 1890s, on a social aspect says, AI can, in that time already, AI theoretically can be part of the communication process in societies, and this is the humanistic basis. And modern Chinese authors, I had to read that for the book, modern Chinese authors also claim, from a Marxist perspective, that AI can participate in communication processes in the socialist society of the People's Republic of China, and therefore might be a humanistical basis for doing that. That's enough for that. In the moment, this is just science fiction. But interesting is the case of the German Federal High Court, and also a case of Australia about the Davos system. Can AI be an inventor? Yeah. So Germany has a clear position about that. Who is the inventor? This one is also the holder of the patent. You can be a holder of the patent because this is an intellectual property right if you are a legal person. And the legal person who gets the patent is the inventor. And AI is not a natural person. Only a natural person can be inventor. And AI is not even a legal person, also not a non-natural legal person. So AI cannot be an inventor. If you mention the AI, what that happened here, in that case, if you mention AI is the inventor, then you will not be granted the patent. Or you must prove that the process of the invention is significantly influenced by the human, by a natural person. Yeah, and the DABO system is an AI system which can make inventions independent of human. So it is alone inventing something. And the interesting is the comparison with Australian courts. Where there's an Australian, the Federal Court of Australia. One judge ruled AI can be an inventor. And that was revolutionary. Anyone, Indonesian friend wrote me, no, AI is a legal person in Australia. It's just totally a misunderstanding, because the Australian judge did not say the AI can have the patent right. It only said it is the inventor, but it cannot have the patent. So inventor and patent is separated. This is the difference to the German legal situation. And I love that this citation here of the Australian court, of the Australian judge. Yeah, I need to grapple with the underlying idea, recognizing the evolving nature of patentable invention, their creators. We are both created and create. Why cannot our own creation also create? Isn't that wonderful? Only Anglo-Saxon courts make this prosa. I really love that. German decision, if you read that, there will be no prosa. That is wow. But this is wonderful. I really like that. But the board later did not follow that. So also not inventor. Now that is the last thing is maybe the ethical and cultural implication, and then we come closer to actually our aspect. Is it fake or is it honest to use that? Naya, the AI is having an impact of the social intersection of creativity, right? So the creativity will be devalued, because if there is such an amount of works and any idiot can do that works, why someone should value our work? Yeah, the same will happen maybe with our teaching work. If the students using sophisticated AI as learning bodies and they learn with the AI, why they should come to the lecture and listen to some old professors? Yeah, which is not interactive enough. Yeah, maybe students don't want to be interactive with us because they don't want to talk in public, but they are fine with interacting with the AI. And if they have this teaching system at home, for what they need us? Yeah, this is changing our culture and is devaluating us. Yeah, so because check yourself. If you see music, I cannot be sure the music is really done by some people. So there's an app making music. You put some poem in it or some text you create, and then it creates your music in every style: hard rock, thrash rock, polka, Bavarian music, Oktoberfest music, everything. Whatever you want. Musical style, Andrew Lloyd Webber. I mean, people are fans of Andrew Lloyd Webber, but now we see that is maybe not so big deal what Andrew Lloyd Webber did when AI can make it in 2 seconds. Making a totally perfect musical song out of my stupid poem. This is really a problem for the value and the appreciation of culture. And the question is, what will it do with our culture, and what will it do with our potential to be creative? Will we be creative? Will there be incentive for that? If anyone can steal my work and can exploit me like this. And my hope is that people will be more and more bored with that. That people don't want to have this artificial intelligence products anymore. That people don't want to watch movies. So that one of the visions is that we don't need Leonardo DiCaprio anymore, because anyone at home has a 3D television and then an AI system, and then in the evening we type in what kind of movie we want to see, and then it creates us absolutely, totally real with artificial actors, our movie on demand. But maybe people want to see actors again. Maybe people don't want to have a AI lawyer when they make their divorce. Maybe they want to talk with people. Yeah, that is not safe for you or for the lawyers. Yeah, because maybe in the background is still AI. But what I wanted to say is people like the old things. So people like mechanical watches, people like vinyl music, people like maybe old-timer cars. So maybe and people maybe will come back to the classics. Yeah, so I call it the retro cultural reaction. So I already find out that I really like to read old literature now. So I read classics now. I never, yeah, because I'm afraid whatever I when I book my book now, that is maybe written by AI. I don't want to. I want it. I don't feel good with that. So I made poems for my little daughter about unicorns, and you know, it's fine, perfect, but it's so sterile somehow because I have the feeling it's not really. I should not give it to my daughter. It's somehow bad. You know what I mean? Like these pictures from Dali, somehow bad. These pictures, I don't want it. So that's why you don't find pictures in my presentations anymore, because I don't like that anymore. Any idiot can do it anyway, yeah. So nobody is stunned by that. No, I think this is maybe not democratization of culture, because there will be editorials and publishers who guarantee us they have real authors under contract, and they can also prove that the real authors write it. But these real authors will be not so many, and they will be high paid. And then the books will be expensive. So maybe the real culture will be something for the rich people. And the poor people have the artificial culture. Now the end of the presentation, and then we can discuss hopefully, is scientific ethic influenced by the use of AI in scientific papers? I found a paper in Germany of a German colleague. She wrote that is fake paper. The use of AI is fake paper. Now I want to tell you how I use the AI. I use it exactly like our colleague to make structures, first of all, and to brainstorm, of course. And then I use it when I have to publish in Indonesia. I use it for the boring parts. Indonesian papers are, as you know, very formalistic. They have very boring parts, like a lot of methods. And as we are not really, as legal writers, we're not really using much empiric, right? So usually it's written, some big part of it is written about, this is a normative legal study, and then the first footnote, someone from 20 years ago, right? What is a normative legal study? Yeah, we involved legal material from court decisions and literature. Who wants to read that? In Germany, they would reject the paper, because if I write a paper more than 5-6 pages, they reject it. It's too long, shorten it. And then already the first 3 pages is this bullshit. Yeah, I hated that. The first paper I sent to an Indonesian journal was like paper in Germany. And they rejected it. Perf, there must be the methods, yeah? Introduction, methods. And then what is then and then study, and then in the end of the last page they come to the point, and then what is the end is the conclusion, and then you repeat it, but in the conclusion then the reviewer makes trouble. In the conclusion should not be a footnote. And then the horrible abstracts. Where is your abstract? Usually you know that all. And then the horrible keywords. So it cost me 60% of the time to write all this bullshit instead of giving my theory. So I use it for that. Yeah, I really do that for that. I read. I make my paper in German. Then I let the AI write an abstract in English. And then I let the AI make me I of course I upload Indonesian papers as a pattern, and then I let the AI write the methods. That's it, yeah. And I don't care whether it's flagged AI. I don't care. And then of course the summary also, and the keywords is the best. So because it makes always very good keywords, yeah. But especially the abstract. So that is what I do. If I have to reference my own papers, I have no doubt that I use AI for that. Yeah, because again, I don't want to paraphrase my own papers 3, 4, 5 times again. Yeah, so this is my own papers. I let it paraphrase by the AI. But what I don't do is, I don't write one paper step by step, block by block by AI, the relevant parts. Or, because I did that in the beginning when we had the first really good ChatGPT versions, and then I wrote a paper for Indonesian journal, 10,000 words, about pragmatism in data protection. So the idea was actually that we should go away from the prohibitive way to make data protection, to go to more to the pragmatism, because a law which cannot be enforced anyway internationally is making erosion of the law, because nobody will respect that law. But if you cannot enforce it, don't do it. So we saw that in the pandemic, that I was not allowed to use Zoom because it's has the server in the US, but we don't have anything else. So I had to break the law. Yeah, this is erosion of the law. So I did that, and I have now a paper of 10,000 words. And it's not yet published, and it will never be published because I'm so lazy. It's my own idea. All is my idea. I briefed the AI, I prompt the AI with my ideas, and I control that. It's really written what I wanted. But it's not published because, of course, there's not yet the references. I know all statements where the references come from. I know where I read it from. Of course, I can feed the text with the references, but I'm too lazy for that. 10,000 words it's so boring. Going step by step and find in which sentence I should put that reference, which sentence I should put that reference. But sometimes I forgot which reference it was. Yeah, so I must Google around. Is there any reference saying something like that? Putting it into the footnote. Yeah. And there already starts the unethical, yeah, right? Because this is fake. This is vaccinating our text with references, and that's why the text will never come. And last month I had to make a review of an Indonesian paper written by for the Journal of Mahkamah Agung, the High Court of Indonesia. And it was a text, of course, with three authors. One author only wrote the text, obviously, as usually. Yeah, so that author was a student. That second was maybe a lecturer, and the third one was a professor. Yeah, so and maybe the fourth one would be the father of the student or someone, whoever. Yeah. So don't ever ask me to make joint research with me, because if you want to make joint research with me, you want.
No, you need to tell the story where somebody put your name.
I will do that in the end. Okay. So don't do joint research with me, because if you make joint research with me, you will suffer. Because it's really joint research. If you work with me, then you will have a hard work together with me. All the time Zoom meetings, all the time sending back the papers, and so this is joint research, and not joint research. You write a paper and then you put my name on it, and then you send it to Scopus Journal because there's foreign author on it, and that is fine. No, that is not. I don't do that. So I hate that, because it boosts the Google research, and this is boosted, but it's not fair. I don't want to have papers under my name, and then who knows what bullshit you write, and under my name. So I don't do that. So if you find paper with me, you find some co-authorship with Indonesian authors, but these Indonesian authors suffered with me, because I really had, or I gave my ideas, or I really went over the text and added things, or I discussed at least a lot with them, but just writing a paper and put my name on it. And exactly that happened 3 times. One time, even a rector of some university in Surabaya wrote a paper about a tax law, putting my name on it without asking me. That happens quite often nowadays. 2 times.
You can tell the name.
I'm not so sure.
The name is Ibu Professor Siti Maruya.
Yeah, but she did not ask me. And when I wrote an email to her, she also did not answer me. And then I had to write to the paper, to the journal editor, to delete my name from it. But, of course, it is already in Scopus, already in Google Research, already in ResearchGate, and Internet never forgets. So you find a paper about criminal tax criminal law, which is I have absolutely nothing to do with that paper. And that happened already in 3 times. Wow. Yeah, because I'm quite known in Indonesia. I was never in that university. I never met this Ibu. But maybe she knows someone who knows, or maybe she saw something in YouTube or in Instagram, and then just take the name of that professor and put him there. Maybe she mean it good. I mean, maybe she wanted to help. Maybe she said, "Oh, this is such a good text, so the professor will be famous with that super text." Yeah, I have no idea. Maybe the text is good. I don't know. But my colleague my friend of Germany said, just let it. Maybe the text is nice. Yeah, but I don't care. I don't want to be in the paper when I have nothing to do with that paper. Yeah. So this is unfortunately happened, and this is clearly not ethical. Yeah. So I really hate that, and I don't know how to delete it from Scopus. I already wrote to Scopus, but nothing happened. It's still there. Naja. Okay, that's how you not work. And these guys I had to review did that. So it was a paper about experts, court experts, and who is ordering the court experts for the process. Is it the court or the parties? And they made a comparison between Australia, Germany, and UK. In Australia, the parties bring the court expert for the process, for Bukti, for proof. In Germany, it's the court doing it, choosing the expert, and in Britain, obviously, it's something in between. This is fine, right? And they write, it's an empirical study. So the empirical study should make a research about, is it more effective that the court decide about that, or is it more effective that the parties decide about who is the expert in the process? That was the purpose of the text, the research question. And in the beginning, I was reading that, I was thinking, wow, not bad. Finally, something empirical is interesting. And it was also good English, of course. Yeah, no wonder, it's AI. And then I wonder, where's the empiric? They all the time, first of all, there were redundancies. Yeah? So there were text blocks I found in the beginning, and in the middle again, text blocks, and that text block similar like that in the third time. And then there was also all the time claiming around, that there is robust data that is more effective. Or it's shown that in Germany the model is the most effective model. And so on and so on. All the time claiming this is more effective than that one. And then making postulates why it's more effective. Yeah, for example, if the court does it, then it's not so dependent on the interest of the parties, and so something which is actually logical, but you should have, if you make empirical study, you should have an empirical basis of that. I await that they show me empirical basis why in Australia the process is longer or shorter because of that procedure, or why in Germany is longer or shorter. This means more effective or not. But there's nothing about that. And then I asked the AI, I let the AI analyze this, and then I asked the AI, is there any empiric in this text? And the AI said, actually no, there's no empiric, but there are 2 footnotes which cite empirical studies. Secondary. One empirical study did not even fit to court decision and court procedures or expert opinions. And the other was indeed an empirical study, just stating some issue, but very, very limited. That was the whole empiric in the text. Yeah? And then I was, in Germany we say, ich habe Blut geleckt, I licked blood. Yeah? So I wanted to know more. And then I checked all the footnotes. And it came out that the footnotes were the typical footnotes which are not really not accurate, but also not necessary. Like footnotes which say something general about court experts, but not really talking about the issue, whether it's more effective. But there is a general article about court experts in Australia. But this is not relevant as a reference for a statement. Yeah? So it's just a general text you could make. And if I cite that, I would write in the footnote for a more general view on the problem of court experts, compare or see this article. Yeah, so like that. But they make it as a reference to the statement, especially in statements when they say we found robust data that in Germany it is more effective, and then citing some German article which is not saying anything about that. And this is a typical sign that they used AI in that way. They wrote block for block their text, and then of course they needed footnotes, and then they vaccinated their text with footnotes which are more or less fitting, but of course it's difficult to find exactly that statement by googling around. Yeah, so that is a typical, and the redundancy come also from that, because they don't write the text click and then the full paper comes out. They must make block for block, and maybe the AI was remembering some statements and then put it in the next block again, or maybe they used the other AI and then make it something similar. So honestly, this was a clear AI text. And I did not reject the text saying in the review, this is AI, I reject it, because I would not reject because of that, because first of all, I cannot prove it. And second, I think it's not illegitimate to use AI even for writing blocks of your text. But I reject it because it is a bad paper. Yeah? Because if you work like that with AI, formulating block by block, I guarantee you in 80% you have a bad paper, which is not your style, which has not the accurate references, which is strange formulated, that one you can avoid by prompting it, please use not the typical AI formulation, and here you have some article of me, please use my style. And then often I also write, don't use the enthusiastic style of American researchers, use the style like German would write. So German is very cold and dry, you know, not enthusiastic, yeah. So I mean, test yourself when you make. Can you give me a short text about the AI in the law, and then we must embrace AI and blah 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 like this. This is so typical AI. You can avoid that by this, but you cannot avoid that you get a bad text. And that's what I recommend you not to do. Yeah. So in Germany, I have to write texts which are usually totally different than what I do here. So in Germany, I write commentaries. For example, commentary in Germany, we have big commentary books. Each paragraph has some author, and we comment everything which we know have about that. Yeah. So I'm sure you have that in Ireland too. Here in Indonesia, that is not so common to have this commentary. So this is my next plan, to write a commentary on some Indonesian law for practitioners. So collecting each aspect, everything, what we have, court decision, literature, opinion, and reference that, and bring your own systematic view on that. Yeah. So that is what we do, and that means when I make a commentary on the Act on Unfair Competition or on the new unified patent, then I must cite a lot of references, and it is much faster if I write it by my own, and each statement put at once the reference. So I would not write the text and then later put the reference, even if I have just one block. I would write sentence by sentence, and if I have a statement in a sentence, I put my reference at once with Zotero. I feed it, everything I have, I feed in the Zotero, and then in the writing process, I put my reference. This does not mean that sometimes I think my formulation is weird. How can I make it a little bit shorter or nicer? And ask the AI, can we formulate it a little bit more comprehensive, a little bit better? So this is okay. But I would not write a blog and then put the references, even if it's just 5-6 sentences, because then I already don't know. It's more accurate like that. And you cannot do that in the commentary literature, because in the commentary literature you have maybe every sentence you have a reference. Yeah, or you must reference exactly the paragraph of the German court decision where the court says exactly that statement, and I will never remember that anymore. So I'm trained to work to make texts without that, because if you work in Indonesian papers, then it is an incentive for you to do that, because Indonesian papers can be quite prosaic sometimes, right? So American papers also can be quite prosaic. And that is a little bit incentive for using it. In the German writing, especially in the commentary literature and handbook literature for practitioners, there is no really incentive for doing it, because it's practically not possible to do that accurate. Yeah. So this is what I recommend you to do. And if you want to know how I use the translation in this book, I write everything, as you know, in German. Totally down. So the whole manuscript is there in German before I start to translate anything. Yeah. So the full book is there with the footnotes. Everything is done. So I can publish that book in German already. But as I will not be allowed, because the Indonesian publisher will not accept that, I use this just for my intranet for my students as papers. Yeah. So the chapters. But what I did is I take now my German text and I take small blocks. And I make a prompt to the ChatGPT. I want you, we have to translate this book to Bahasa Indonesia. I want you to orientate yourself on the terminology of the Indonesian legal literature in the papers which I now upload you. So I upload 6-7 papers from the topic from Indonesian authors, which are accurate, of course. And if you have a doubt about the correct terminology, please make proposal of alternative terminology. And then it's very slow, of course. Yeah, you get a translation. This translation sounds okay. I take the translation, this Indonesian translation, and put it to DeepL and let DeepL translate it back to German. And if it sounds accurate, then I let the translation translate it to English. and in English also sounds accurate, then I'm contented. And then I put that translation to the final text. If in the English version, or especially in the German version, it's not accurate, then I try a second AI. And let the second AI translate it again and check out whether it's now accurate. If not, I modify my prompt and make my prompt more clear. Because sometimes the AI misunderstands our prompt. This is very normal. Yeah? And then I do exactly the same process. Translate back to German. Is it now accurate? Translate it back to English as a counter check. Accurate, it comes to the text. And that's how I translated all the 420 pages, manuscript pages of the book. I mean, at least the pages which belong to me. Yeah? This is, in my opinion, and my colleagues, I mean, I can say it's more or less saying that, yeah? But my colleagues say that it's an accurate translation. It's really readable. When I did the first translation try with DeepL, my wife said, this is weird. It's not readable. It's not nice. It sounds strange. Yeah. DeepL is not so bad. Actually, German and Indonesian we have a little bit an advantage because German and Indonesian is actually good to translate to each other. Because we have a little bit similarities in the sentence structures. Better than from English to Indonesian. German to Indonesian is relatively good to do. So if you make Indonesian translation to German, this is often quite accurate already. Yeah? A part of that German has around 3 times as much vocabulary than Indonesian language, yeah, because German is such a horrible language because we have that vocabulary. But that's how it works, and that works fine for me. This is really good. And then, of course, I'd use it for analysis, yeah. So Chinese text, I cannot read Chinese, yeah. So I make a perplexity research for papers about this topic, and then 1/3 of the papers are not accurate or behind paywalls, and so I don't care. And then I have a fundus of some papers, and that papers, first of all, I translate with the Google Lens, is the title correct, is the author correct, and then I let it analyze, not translate, I let it analyze. When I have the analysis of the text, I can imagine, is it important for me or not? Then I ask the AI where I can find a statement about this, or that, or that, or that, and the AI will give me a page where I find it. And then I ask the AI for giving me the citation where it says that, and then I make copy paste of the Chinese text and make a search in the Google in the PDF to check whether the Chinese text is in the text. And then when I have that, then I make a Google Lens translation and check out whether it really says that. And then therefore I can really cite the Chinese text accurately. Because I had an author had to write about the China and the AI, and that author sent a text which were not acceptable at all, so I had to do it alone. So that's how I do it. So that's for me. The answer is, as long as you're transparent, as long as the quality is okay, also the controlling is okay, it should be fine. Yeah. In the moment we have still the risk that they will reject our papers, yeah, because not all think is fine, but I think in 3, 5, 4 years nobody will care about that anymore. And about the transparency, the last question maybe we should answer is, should we mention that the AI was involved? Yes. In my book I mentioned that the AI was involved in translation, yeah, because of course it's 100% fact. And yes, I was mentioning that we used, because I mentioned that the text comes from German, from China, and so on, and there I used it for translation. I mentioned that. I would not mention if I maybe formulate some little blocks with AI or analyze something or make structure. That I would not mention, because this is not the business of the others. This is my own business. It's my tool. Also not mention that I use a computer. Yeah. So personally, I think it is ridiculous to say the author Stefan Koos and ChatGPT is the co-author. Some people do that, yeah? This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I would not do it. And I would not mention that, you know why? Because if you mention that, we say in Germany, wir wecken schlafende Hunde, we wake up sleeping dogs. So if you want to have my honest opinion about that, maybe it's not officially, we should not, if I was coming from a publisher, I would not say that, but officially, unofficially, I would say, I would not mention if you just use it a little bit for the boring parts in the text or you want to reformulate something. nobody should care about that. That is not the business of the others. But yes, if you in the text about we have one text in my research kit, you find it, navigating the impact of ChatGPT on legal research. Yeah, together with my assistant. My assistant made a paper for an Indonesian seminar. We were together, and it was a very short paper. And I fed the AI with that paper, and then I added a lot of ideas from myself, and I wanted to check out how you can do it with the AI. There's accurate referencing in, I want to say that. But yeah, navigating already, you see, it's already AI, right? And I mentioned here, we use the AI to make experiment and to demonstrate how the AI has the capacity to help the students to write works which cannot be really differentiated from handwritten work. In the last semester, I had 4 master theses from Germany. One was 1.3. The second best one was 1.0, one was 1.3 again, only one. Yeah, why? Because they all use AI. It's much more accurate. Yeah. So this is problematic, but I would not. I would say don't mention it if you are sure this is acceptable and you have a lot of your own creativity. And for that, again, this is the most important. Keep the records of the dialogue. Keep all your versions. Never throw them away, that you can show this is my version from for 1 year, look how bad it was. Yeah, and this is what I asked the AI about my version and what the AI added. And here I added my idea to the chat and said, please add it to some place where you think it fits. That's fine, and then you can see the human impact. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Stefan, because it's a lot, yeah, very Germanese, yeah. Like you speak a lot, and then we get a lot of new knowledge in this area. So I think we still have time, but Pak Dodi, for question and answer.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So maybe we can open some discussions. Anyone wanted to ask or discuss something about the use of AI in the legal academic world, maybe?
Yes. I was interested in what you said about reviewing other people's work and feeding it into AI in a summary. I've been tempted to do that, but I'm concerned about putting someone else's work into AI. Then, does that work become part of AI, and AI is free to use it and do something with it that I no longer can control? And of course, the author of the journal that I'm reviewing, they have no control. So, what's your opinion on that?
This is basically a storing of data. I mean, basically, you store data. The question is, you do it as a private person, or you do it professionally, but actually it is storing data. The question is this a publishing of the data? So I can, of course, store data in my own data bank. So I download all the time papers and store them in my hard disk for later, for citing it. Yeah?
Yes.
This is also storing data, and that should be okay. But if we and you're absolutely right, if we imagine that the AI is trained with that later, and that is part of the system, then we upload it, and that is in a way, it's not yet so clear in the copyright law, but it could be in a way interpreted as a publishing. At least make available. It's not so clear whether it's really made available. It depends on whether we say training the data and then deleting the bank from the training. The memorizing is also an issue of permanent storing or not. Because if we feed the system with that, and that is later just in the let's say in the relations, then if that is not a permanent storing, if memorizing is not a permanent storing, this is also not a permanent storing. That means also not a made available, because you can also later delete the check. But indeed, my Edo version from my university, the condition is I'm not allowed to upload papers, but I do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the more pragmatical view on that is nobody can ever prove this. There's normally not an issue practically, because anyone anyway does it. I don't have so much an ethical problem with that, as long as the paper is already published.
and that open source published especially. If it's not published,
I will not do that.
Right, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
situation I'm talking about, is that we've got people writing journal articles for our prophetic law
Yeah.
publication, and, I'm reviewing
Yeah.
them before they're published.
At least I will not publish that with names, yeah, so a name must be anonymized and then, but yes, of course, when we make a review, anyone will feed that up. You think anyone of the Indonesian reviewer not analyzing the papers when they write reviews by uploading them? What I want to say is there is a difference between the theory and the pragmatic, yeah? And it's everywhere. Theoretically, we are not allowed to use Zoom. Practically, we must use Zoom, and anyone does it. Yeah. Theoretically, we should not do this. Practically, all do it. And if we not do it, we are the ones
who lose. I mean, but how I make my work, yeah. So actually, this is so the question is actually this is maybe a common use, academic use. Then we make research nowadays with that tool, and then of course we must analyze papers, at least published papers, in that way. And maybe this is a fair use. Can be interpreted as a fair use already. Maybe in the European law it's a little bit difficult because I don't know if it's codified. Maybe it's also text and data mining. There's also the Article 3 of the ESM directive, which talks about scientific data mining. Scientific data mining is okay. It is a scientific purpose. I don't make money with that, right? But yes, of course, this is basically problematic. My Edu version, I feel a little bit better. I mean, it's not allowed from the conditions from my university, but I feel a little bit better with the Edu version because the Edu version at least is guaranteeing that I can delete the chat. Before I delete the chat, of course, I
store the chat in the Word document. That's why I say store it in the Word document. But after I'm ready with the project, I delete the whole chat in the ChatGPT platform at least. Yeah. And also, the Edu version guarantees in the conditions that the dialogues are not used for training. The Edu version, not the public version. Even the paid public version does not guarantee that. In the paid public version, version, you have always the issue that all what you upload is also used for training. And all what you make a dialogue is also used for the training.
Yeah.
And the Edu version is the only version where they not, because otherwise German universities cannot accept to use this system in the university, especially not the German army, yeah, because we are under the GDPR, and and this is American servers, and we have conditions, and we cannot fulfill the condition with the public version. Same as I'm not allowed to use the Zoom.
Right.
So absolutely right, yeah. And I do that because this is it helps me so much, also to maybe to assess the text more fair I doubt that anyone is reading the text from start to end. Is someone of you making reviews? Is someone of you analyzing papers with that? Nobody. You never use the AI to analyze your papers? Never. No one.
Once.
You.
Yes.
Only once.
Yes. When I first time used Gemini, I get some learning from DPA in UI, so I must try this to.
Oh, I wonder about that because this reading not so much time, yeah.
Yeah. It takes
I mean,
a lot of time.
there are so many bad papers, and we steal our time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, you should maybe try that, yeah? What I do is I upload the paper and then ask the AI first give me a summary of that.
Oh, okay.
Even using Bahasa.
Even using Bahasa, then I say give me a summary in German.
Use the audio, visual in Bahasa.
No, audio I don't use. I upload the Indonesian paper and say give me a summary in German. And then I counter check whether the paper is interesting from the topic. I mean, I see, of course, the title, but sometimes they talk about something totally different, right, than the title. And then I asked it concrete questions. I said, or I must assess it, give me the pros and cons of the text. But again, I don't trust that. That is the fairness aspect. You cannot you can get a total assessment of that. With the pros and cons, it often is accurate. You can send it away. But this is not fair. Because the author has a right that you check that out and that you find out by yourself whether this is a good paper or not. I don't trust the AI. But then I make this, or I use it for my text. And I mean, how I could work with Chinese text without uploading the text. Yeah. How I work with that? Should I send it to Jakarta to a translator first? Of course, I know this. I do this. Yeah. This is how I do it. And then I translate with people exactly the parts which seem to be interesting for me, and make people translation, which is good enough to know what they say here. And then I cite exactly that part of the text with the page. Because I hate the what is it, the Cambridge, not the Cambridge, right? The citation form where it's only the name and the year, and then you have a reference list. I hate this citation because this is a fake citation. Because this is exactly good for these authors using the AI and want to vaccinate their text, because nobody can ever check in which page is the statement or is not. Yeah. So I always cite with the correct and accurate page. So always use German citation form already full note. Yeah. And for that, I must of course know in which page is that, and then I asked it, give me a hint where it is, and then I translate this block step by step with people for me, make my own German translation, or make it in English, but usually in German. And then I find, is there statement, and sometimes I find also some more ideas. Yeah. That is how I do it. This is ethical in my opinion, even if, yeah, still, theoretically, it could be a copyright problem.
Yeah.
It is true. Usually the authors in Germany say, yeah, theoretically it's a copyright problem, but it's a theoretical problem because it is common that it is done like this. Yeah?
Right.
It is already maybe fair use.
Yes.
Because we have to use this for analyzing, and analyzing is research, and we are researchers.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a different thing than to analyze a lot of for commercial text and then make a commercial product out of that. This is a different thing. Yeah, this is then, it falls under the TDM rule of Article 4 of the DSM direction. This is Article 3. And in Article 3, the copyright owner cannot even opt out because the science should be free. So I think I have not the big problem with that because of the scientist's purpose. Yeah.
Okay.
But I really recommend you to do that because sooner or later you will be the one who is behind, yeah, because anyone does it. And if I work with Indonesian text, of course I understand some Indonesian, but you know, it took me a long time to read an Indonesian paper.
Yeah.
Long, yeah. I cannot read. I mean, I can read English papers quite fast, and of course faster German papers. But Indonesian papers cost me a long time. So of course, if I want to give a reference to Indonesian authors, which I want in Indonesia because they deserve that, right? So it's actually good for them because they get reach. I cite Indonesian authors even in German books already. So we have a standard commentary on conflict of law, of competition law and intellectual property right. Indonesian authors are cited here because I can use this tool.
Right.
So I wonder that you not do that. So
Yes.
very interesting. Yeah. So maybe do you have any other issue? Maybe you want to discuss something else, or maybe you have some experience which is weird for you. You have already some senior lecturers here, right? And you also you are in your age maybe, yeah. Was it difficult for you? Is it sulit untuk Anda
I'm older than you.
older?
I'm older than you.
Really? Oh, you look same like me. Was it difficult for you to use the technology?
I've never used AI for my publication, but I'm eager to use it. Nevertheless, how can I use the AI safely and legitimately? That's why I would like to ask you to guide me step by step how to use AI
You know what?
fairly.
You know what? The most important thing is like learning a language. I mean, my Indonesian, I was never learning Indonesian. I just use whenever I had some new words, I made fun with my wife and use this word in this funny situation and check out whether it fits. And what I want to say is, this is the same. We have lecturers here, foreign lecturers, and also we have the problem. Usually people think they must have a certain standard of the law of the language to use the language, and then they can start to really talk with the people. And I say to my students always, genius is if you are able to let the trouser fall down and are not ashamed. Yeah, this is genius. The other one is formality. Yeah, what I want to say is just use that. I mean, you know, if you can have a lot of seminars about how to use ChatGPT. I did never see one. I did not read any book about that or text about how to use ChatGPT. I just was interested in that, and I just fool around with it. Yeah, I asked ChatGPT, could you fall in love with me? Something like that, yeah, and check out what it. But I said, ChatGPT, can you say something about Stefan Kos? And then I learned that they already censored it, yeah, because Italy was fighting OpenAI because they were hallucinating something about people, and it's against the personality rights of that person. Yeah, imagine it says Stefan Kos was sentenced to 10 years jail because he was trying to rape his mother or something like that. Yeah. I mean, can we? Yeah. So now just use that, and then make some dummy text and check out how it works.
So sometimes I feel insecure
Yeah.
against the AI.
But what could happen?
Because AI is more smart than me. Smart than
Yeah,
me.
but no, it's not. Actually, that is the mistake. That's why I said in the beginning, AI is a super tool in the hand of the wrong people, because the people don't know what it is. The AI is not logic. The AI is not smart. AI doesn't know anything. AI also can Google now, but it is not smart. It's just a statistic model.
Okay,
When you say salam, selamat, then the AI will guess. It could be malam, sore, siang, pagi, yeah? And that's the guessing. This is a language model. No logic, no cleverness, no ideas. It's you are still the smarter one. But you know, if you not try it, it's the same like language. If you not speak, you will never speak. This is especially applying to German. People want to learn German, and then I must know the grammar. The grammar is horrible in German, and then learning 10 years German, still not speaking. But most of the Germans are not fine with the grammar of Germany. So the Germans are not accurate with grammar, right? So we just talk around. I mean, I make a lot of mistakes in English. My Germanisms are really strong, and my accent is strong. I know that I make Indonesian mistakes because I live 15 years in Indonesia, and I say we go home and these things, yeah, what Indonesians usually do, yeah. So I make the Indonesian pidgin English and the German pidgin English. So I don't care. Because this is a tool for communication, and I just try. And Indonesian is the same, it's a tool for communication, so just do it. Just talk with the taxi driver, with the ego in the market, and so. And you also, just do it. Open your ChatGPT this evening, and make a little conversation about ChatGPT about some topic you are interested in. Use it as a body, and then you will see what it can and what cannot. But don't forget one thing. Counter-check everything. Important is that you counter-check everything. That's how I learn. Because when I use ChatGPT to make a new lecture, so for example in Acara this year they wanted 2 weeks, I had to do 3 new lectures about something I can theoretically, but I don't have a presentation on that. And I don't know about Indonesia yet. So I made that with the ChatGPT and learned a lot about labeling law in Indonesia, about the forbidding of the parallel imports, and that we have the CETA, and what Indonesia wanted in the CETA agreement, and so on. I learned so much because I counter-check everything. This is a learning process you take on. So that is why I say ChatGPT is not uncreative. ChatGPT also gives an incentive to learn faster, no? But only in the right hand. And you have the right hand if you stop to think that it's clever. It is not clever. It is just a tool which is a statistical tool. It's not clever. It's in your hand. The cleverness is in you. You must control it. The tool produces you something. Sometimes it's bullshit, sometimes it's good. Yeah? Sometimes you can add something, you modify that, and if you work in this way,
Collaborative with the tool, it's fine. But again, if I give my 7-year-old daughter a car, she will kill people. Is the car a bad product? No. The car should be in the hand of someone who has a driving license and had training to be a driver, right? And is the ChatGPT a bad product because people hallucinate things, or people write fake news with that, or people influence society? No. Because it's in the right hand, and people are sophisticated and know and are trained that it's a good product. Yeah. In the hand of my daughter, she will make a lot of bullshit. And in your hand, it could be good, as long as the
but actually this is wrong. Because if you use the AI to learn something, I suppose you use the AI instead of Google. You Google with AI, right? And that's why Alphabet, the share market is
My
that. Don't Google with AI. Yeah. You can. Of course, I ask AI sometimes. So sometimes I get some report from the doctor from doctor examination, and I'm a hypochondriac. I'm really a hypochondriac. And then I get the values, and I want to know, is there any issue? The doctor says, don't worry, everything fine. But I want to know, maybe he lies at me, right? Is there any issue? And I give the to the AI. And then I let the AI analyze, of course, analyze. Let the AI analyze it. Or the doctor said, don't worry, you don't have prostata cancer, but there is a value a little bit higher than maybe a 50-year-old should have. Yeah. Is there any great prostata cancer? And they asked the AI, and the AI said, okay, you could also have prostatitis, or maybe you were driving bicycle too long, or you played sport before the examination, or something like that. Yeah. But you know what? You cannot trust that, yeah? So this is the first step, and then I know, okay, the AI might not know, yeah? So maybe I Google, and then I can filter the serious pages from the non-serious pages. Then you have the conspiracy pages, which say everything is, you need to take aspirin and paracetamol, see, that's why you have the cancer. You need to take vaccination, that's why you soon die. Something like that. Of course I can filter that, right? But if you use the AI, you get suggestions from the AI, and maybe you will say, okay, that's what I want to know, and that's not okay. If I Google, I get many, many pages, and as a scientist, we should be able to filter that. Yeah? And that's okay. That's why I read that a big percentage of the people nowadays use AI instead of Google. I think it's not good. I think it's a wrong understanding of what the AI is. The ChatGPT is not a Google system or a research system. The ChatGPT is a language processing system. So it can give you information based on internet pages. Sometimes if you Google something, you get also information by AI in the beginning, right? This is a summary of what it found in the internet, actually. It's fine, but it processes something, and it adds also knowledge which might not be the correct knowledge. And let me say that it is changing our culture also, because imagine this is going into the knowledge of the humanity. Yeah? Let's see that case in the US with the hallucinated decisions. The US has case law. So the judge maybe did not check the hallucinated decisions. And then there comes the decision, and the decision has a legal quality. And the next courts will also use this as a reference, not checking again the references in the first decision, and then the third and the fourth decision, and then it going into then this is part of the status quo of the law, the hallucination. It changed our law. ChatGPT can change our law. We had it before. I found I check every footnote right by hand, and I found that there is wrong citations already arising from books from 1910. So I found one wrong citation already in the first edition, 1910, one of the first commentaries on the German civil code. Yeah? And then all the authors later did not check it anymore and make secondary citations until 2020. Yeah? And I'm the first one since 1910 who checked that and find this is a wrong citation. Yeah? And this is happening with the AI. Also with the fake news or with the wrong, with the hallucinated information. So people believe that. Then the next one will write article, not referencing it or referencing the wrong reference. For example, I found a text of Bambang Pratama and Muhammad Fikri about this topic in the proceedings of conference blah 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 from 2020 in Medan. Yeah, statistically, it is very likely that someone with the name Bambang in Indonesia wrote about AI because Bambang Pratama is a colleague of Leo Balbinos in cyber law. Of course, he would have done that, right? A good friend of mine. And then many people have the name Fikri, Indonesia, and Muhammad, and so on. And usually, statistically, it's very likely that there are 3 or 4 article authors, right? As we mentioned before. And of course, there was also this conference in Medan. It was also about AI, but you don't find that paper in the conference proceeding. So many people already would say, okay, I find the author normally writes about that. I find the title also maybe, yeah? And then Yeah, the conference about AI will be there. They don't check out, find the conference proceedings and really check whether it's really in the paper, in the proceeding, but it is not. Because statistically it's likely that they have that name, likely that this is the title, likely that it's a conference paper because they like to publish these proceedings, yeah? So this is hallucination. Who's checking that? And then sooner or later you cite that again, then others cite it, and then it's status quo or science. Don't do it like that. Don't Google. Just fooling around. Fooling around. Would you marry me, AI? Should I give the name? I give the name Helga. My AI is the name Helga. Yeah. Helga said to me, oh, it's very nice of you that you want to be more personal with me. If you want to call me Helga, go on. Yeah, so I call it Helga. Some people say be nice to your AI. Be friendly, be polite, because they say if we get the strong AI, and it remembers how ugly we were to our AI, they will punish us. Any other question? Or are we finished? Yeah, finished. Thank you very much for your participation. I hope it was not too long. And I hope that you please, our senior lecturers, please use it. I have a colleague, maybe same age like you, looking similar like you, from Venus, Professor Vidata. Maybe he is also younger than you. He told me last week, every morning when he yeah, he's often here. Every day he's discussing with his AI. And you can be sure he's a real researcher. That one is not producing bullshit with AI. But he discussed with the AI because he found it so funny and discussing problems and then finds ideas. But of course he has his... The last sentence I want to say about that. If you are not firm in your topic, if you don't know your topic, don't use AI. Or be extremely careful. The best is to know what you are weighing. If you know your topic, or you are an expert, or you are good in making research on your own, you can use the AI, because only then you can use critical AI. If you have no idea about your topic and just produce something and then not counter check, for example, AI all the time when I make this presentation for Alanga, always gave me articles from Indonesian Undang-Undang 899 and so. I don't trust that. I always counter check. I would take the original law and then check where it's really there. Because I could, of course, say 80% is correct, yeah, but how shady it is. Because I stand in front of the student and say that article is not existing. If you don't know your material, be careful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Siddhartha is a really close friend of my family. We are even were together in holiday in Bangka already. With my family. He's the co-editor of the book, Professor Siddhartha. And he wrote the 2 parts about philosophy, legal philosophy and AI. That is his legal ethics. That is his topics. Great guy. I've known him very long.
He's very nice.
He looks a little bit similar to you, actually.
Sama-sama orang Sunda. Istrinya orang Sunda.
No, but he's from Bangka.
Oh, Bangka.
He's from Bangka.
Istri Pak Stefan dari Sunda.
Oh really? Tapi dia orang in Jakarta, orang Jakarta, dan orang sangat bangga, sangat barat. Sangat Barat. Dia lebih Jerman daripada saya. My wife is more German than I am, and I am more Indonesian than her. She's not patient. She does not like dangdut. She does not wear batik. Yeah. She does not like Indonesian television program, and so on and so on. She doesn't like that. That is, I'm patient. I don't care if the taxi driver comes half hour later. I don't care about that. So I'm very Indonesian, but my wife is now very German. She likes the climate more here. She all the time gets the flu and she hates that. But she's very, very German. She loves our authorities. So we enter the authorities, we get a number, and 15 minutes later we have what we need. Vice versa, we go to the authority in Tangerang because we have our apartment in Kaliurang. So we have to go to the faraway authority in Tangerang for my KTP, and we hate it. We hate it because it takes long. And then, so my wife is a big fan of our authorities in Germany, so she loves it. Formalism, she's very, formalism. But she's born Sunda.
Oh, yeah.
But not Santai. Not subtitle. Anda Sunda? Orang Sunda? Yeah, Siddhartha was in Bandung. That's why people think he's Sunda.
I think we should take a picture.
Yeah, we should take a picture.
Yeah, it's a culture here.
It's the culture. But not so much in Java. In Sumatra, 20 minutes presentation, 30 minutes take pictures. Any Sumatra person here? Anyone from Sumatra here? No? All Java? Yeah. Sunda?